It's Yash. All right, let's talk about edging for females. What does it mean? There's a lot of videos out there on YouTube. I checked a couple about girls talking about how it's so good for girls to edge. You get yourself close to climaxing and then you stop. And then you take that energy because when you're masturbating, it stimulates your sexual energy, gets everything, the energy gets aroused, and then you stop, and then you bring the energy up through your chakras, and then out your crown chakra, and then you manifest what you want, the hot guy that you want, or the the perfect job or money or all this stuff. Okay, can I say that's a hoax? Am I allowed to say that? It's cool though. It's cool. Like, we got to try all these things and see. Here's what happens though. I want to focus on the main point. Edging is like the ultimate dopamine hit. Strong dopamine hit. When we're masturbating, the whole, you can say masturbation addiction, sex addiction, attraction of the opposite sex, getting them to give us attention, it's all dopamine hits. Strong dopamine hits. Dopamine's in our brain. When we do these things, it gets released. It gives a nice sense of euphoria. We become dopamine addicts. It's not talked about enough in the world, dopamine addiction. Almost everybody's doing it. Like, everybody's doing it. There's different levels of dopamine though. Like, when you're out in nature or at the beach, you can also get a dopamine hit. But it's a different grade of dopamine. It's like a balancing dopamine. It's not a stimulating, restless kind of dopamine. It's not you don't crash. See, the masturbation dopamine, it's like you go up, stimulate yourself, and then it might feel good for a bit, but then you'll crash. It's like a sugar high. Now, it might take a while to experience this. This is the problem, to experience the crash, to experience what I'm saying, that it's crashing your nervous system. It did for me. I did it too. The whole Montauk Chia thing and Taoist practices, stimulate the life, the sexual energy. I did all that in the name of, like, this is good and I'm building my energy and I'm manifesting and blah, blah. But really, I was a dopamine addict. I didn't admit that part. That was the main thing that was driving it. But it took some time to, like, destroy my nervous system before I could start looking at that. And then when I stopped doing it, it's like, whoa, what would have happened if I never did this my whole life? I would have been like I could have conquered the world or something. I thought I was doing this to get energy, but really I was slowly losing energy, but I couldn't see it because I was trapped in dopamine addiction. It's okay, this is life. Like, we gotta, this is why we're here. Make mistakes and then learn, and then we share with others, and this is the whole game of life. And then have the people hate you and say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Who are you? You're a guy talking about, and all that stuff. That's cool. Like, I already expect that. I can hold space for that. Like, I don't take it personal. So that's the most, you can say, grossest level of dopamine addiction, is when you masturbate, stimulate yourself, get to the peak, and you stop. You don't orgasm. But I want to go over some more subtle ways of edging that girls do. Another way, huge way, is getting attention from the opposite sex or teasing them. Getting the guy to look at you and validate you. You want to see that the guy, that you're moving him inside. Especially if the guy's like so-called, what your mind determines is well-to-do. This guy's, he has some status, or a movie star, even better. If you can get a movie star to give you some recognition, that's a strong dopamine release there. Because then your feelings of self-worth and this, because everybody has this is a deep core issue, this low self-worth. And it takes a while to discover that. One has to have a spiritual practice or be doing introspection and really practicing self-honesty to get in touch with that. It's a deep human condition, this low self-worth. So when we get, this is part of the dopamine addiction. When we get others to give us some attraction, we get a hit of validation, like, oh, I'm somebody, and then we get a dopamine release, and then we feel good. But how long does it last? That's the problem. only lasts a couple seconds. You can have every guy on the planet, all the best, most successful guys, what you deem are attractive guys, to give you a hit of validation and attention, and it's going to wear off. In fact, it's going to make you more empty and more depressed, because something inside is going to realize, like, wait a minute, all these guys are looking at me, I'm getting a lot of attention, but yet I'm still super empty inside. In fact, this emptiness is growing. What the hell am I going to do? Yeah, you got to catch it. That's what you do. You catch what you're doing. If there's not awareness of what we're doing, then we can't stop what we're doing, so then we can't transcend it and feel better. We have to admit what we're doing. We have to see these subtle defects that we have that are keeping us small and stuck. That's the first step. So you catch that. You realize, like, man, I'm actually seeking, on a subtle level, I'm seeking validation from these men so that I can feel better about myself. And also, it gives me a hit of dopamine when he looks at me, does whatever he does. I'm getting high from that. But that high is burning out my nervous system and making me emotionally imbalanced. So I want to stop doing that. You have to have that recognition. Otherwise, you're not going to stop doing it. And you can't stop doing this overnight. You know how deep this is? Been doing it since you were a baby. Girls are just groomed into this by society and by their parents, and you got to work it. You got to work it to get the good guy to give you money and all that. Now, not all girls go through that, but I'm saying this is the female software or the conditioning. Guys don't have that. We're not groomed in that way. We don't learn from our parents or society that we got to work it so that we can get a girl to take care of us. There's a handful of guys that do that, sure. There's always exceptions. So anything I say, you can find an exception, but I'm talking generally speaking. Girls are like just indoctrinated into this fake thing of, like, I gotta make myself look beautiful, to get guys' attention. It's so deep. It's too bad. See, it's because it's so deep, Look at if there were no girls on the planet, the plastic surgeons would be out of business. So all the girls go to them. And their midlife crisis can be really heavy. I was reading in a magazine once, this actor girl, she was like mid-30s or something, and she was talking about getting older. She's like, when I go into a restaurant now, I notice I don't get the same looks I did when I was in my 20s. The age and type of guy that used to look at me, they don't even notice me now. And it was like crushing for her. But you know what she said? It wasn't a realization or transcendence. She said, so girls, make sure you use your healing cream or your face creams and you do all this stuff to try to keep yourself looking as young as possible for as long as you can. That's her advice. And I'm like, isn't it a better idea to transcend this whole identity and obsession with the physical body? If you stay on this planet long enough, and it don't even take long, you're gonna look like some wrinkled prune at some point. Meditate on that. Make that your meditation. Just see yourself as a wrinkled prune. All right, because this is the reality of this body. You cannot keep it looking young forever. And the more you realize that now, the more you can gracefully age, and you realize that every age has its benefit. See, I'm 48. I look different than when I was in my 30s, and then in my 20s I look different than, and etc. But see, there's a different attraction that that comes in age. I feel attracted now, but it's different kind of attraction than when I was the way I felt attractive in my 30s. In my 30s was more superficial. My 20s was insanely superficial. I was like, that's when I was an actor in Hollywood, California. Oh my God, I would hire these shopping these image consultants, and they'd come and help me shop to get the best clothes to try to accentuate my, attractiveness. And I'd go to a new hairstylist like every month trying to get the right. I was insane. I bought a huge mirror in my studio apartment and put it up, like it covered the whole wall, and I would pace back and forth checking myself. I would do it so long, like hours. I couldn't see straight anymore, let alone check and see how I looked. I had an image consultant come once, this is in the early 20s, and she saw that big mirror and she's like, there's no way I could live here. I'm like, why? She's like, I wouldn't be able to stop looking at myself. I said, I know, that's the point. So people have this bad, but girls have it even worse, generally speaking, this identity with the physical form or physical beauty. And then they use that to try to get the guy to look at them, to give them the dopamine hit. That's edging. I don't know if I did justice on this video, because I kind of went off and talked. Maybe you were expecting that I was going to talk about your stereotypical way of edging, of masturbating, getting close to climax, and then stopping. But like, I don't have a lot to share on that, except saying like it's a waste of time. Now, if you look, anything's okay if you do it once in a while, but most people can't do it once in a while because the dopamine's a very strong hit. You get a strong rush from that. So I don't know people that can do it once in a while. But if you're one of them, cool, do it once in a while. You're not gonna hit a bottom like I'm talking about if you're doing it once in a while. Most can't do that though. But even stronger than that addiction, see, not everybody does that. A lot of people don't even know about it, this edging thing, reaching close to climax and stopping. That's like, it's not a popular thing. People don't know about that. But I can tell you what most people, maybe all people do know, is trying to get this hit of dopamine or validation from the opposite sex. They know it, but they don't know they're doing it. It's become instinctual. And then the mind will justify and say, well, it's natural. Like, yeah, I'm a girl and I'm a, like, this is what we do. He's a guy and this is the play and it's all good. Yeah, do it for as long as you want to do it. But when you're done doing it, which you will be at some point, and you might be at that point now, to where these words actually make sense for you and you want to start to look at this stuff. I'm trying to reach those people that want to look at this stuff, who are tired of just being stuck in the normal, like, this machine that everyone's stuck in. You want to start to transcend that. Something in you realizes, like, you know what? My happiness is going to be contingent upon me transcending these things, because you can feel how it's keeping you imbalanced, especially emotionally. And isn't it nice? You go out in your day or wherever you're at, the beach or your restaurants, and you're not looking to see if a guy's looking at you. Now, some of you are going to say, look, man, that's the last thing I want. I get so much damn attention, like I'm so sick of it. Like, I hate guys. I'm sick of them. They just won't leave me alone. I felt like that when I was like 22 in Hollywood, because there was a lot of gays there and they wouldn't leave me alone. And I remember, I was like, damn, I think I know how some girls feel. I don't have that problem now. I like it. So, is that another topic though? What you do when you're getting too much attention. See, because that usually, the problem with that, this is another topic. The problem with that is you start to become resentful toward the guys. Yeah, I can understand that. I don't blame you. Because the average guy is so sense-driven and their energy's so heavy. When they look at you, like, you feel it, and they don't get the picture. You can be like, and they don't see your hand. They just see meat. So I understand that. That's another topic. Let me know if you want to hear that topic, though. I gotta know, like, is anybody watching these videos? I have a few other YouTube channels: Spiritual Renaissance, Beyond the Alchemy. That's my channel for men. I talk about semen retention, and also True Mental Health. I talk about helping people with nervous system disorders. This is my newest channel because I felt I wanted to make some videos on this and see, is there any audience for this? So you have to tell me, like, is there an audience out there that's listening to this? And that will give me the motivation to keep going. Otherwise, you know, I need motivation. All right? Have a good day.